we should continue with the class. So, and I need the remote. Sorry, class. That was disruptive. I'll make sure to send you the materials on the later date. So today, we're going to learn quickly about humans and nature. So first, I want you in class and you on the video to imagine the word werewolf. What do you think of? Werewolf. You already look at the next slide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, if it was women from my generation, and also even now, they think of romanticized version of werewolf, right?
Yeah.
Handsome man, shirtless, very muscular, can turn into wolf. But their history longer than that. I think I should turn off the light so that they can see the screen more clearly. Okay. And you on Zoom, I promise you next time the quality of the video is going to be much better. Alright, so werewolf was some kind of myth in the older times, right? It represents the contrast between man and nature, between being human and polite and know how to control self, with beast, monster, the desire to consume and to destroy and to kill, right? And this is a perceived struggle between humans and nature, all right? So, with this comes the question. People from antiquities, which means people from the older time, believe that humans and nature are two separate things, right? Humans are not animals. Well, of course, in current times, we already know almost that humans are a species of animals. But some of you might think that humans are a little more special. What do you think? Are humans animals in the biological sense? Do you think, I know that a lot of people, especially in the humanities area, might think that humans are different from other animals in some way. What do you think makes humans different?
Thinking system. Thinking system.
Thinking system, right? Our brains are different somehow. Well, there are a couple things that are different. Our homes do not look like this. Sorry? You can hear me well, right? Okay, our homes look very different, right? This is where most animals, not all of them, but most of them live, right? In nature, sorry, we are adjusting the screen a little bit. มันดีดปุ่ม
สวิตช์พอดี
ครับ
เลื่อน
ครับ
จะใส่โอเคครับ
ครับผม
โอเคครับ
Sorry for the disruption. We live in nature. มันมองจอไม่ได้ครับมันไม่เห็นจอ
อ๋อไม่เห็นจอ
ครับ ไอ้ว่าครับไม่ต้องนะครับไว้อย่างเดิมดีกว่าครับ Excuse me
โอเค
ครับ
เมื่อกี้สวยกว่า
เมื่อกี้เห็นชัดกว่า Alright, I apologize for that. But humans, we live here. We live in the cities, right? Or for those of you on the video, if you're not sure, just open the slide along with us so that you can understand what I'm saying. Alright? And the cities especially in Western cities, are as far from nature as it gets. There are a lot of sentiments that there is some wars between humans and nature. This picture has been circulating around the internet for a long time, right? It shows a relationship between humans and nature, in which nature is very passive and caring and kind, and humans are some kind of evil and hurtful and aggressive toward nature. Do you think that this is the relationship between humans and nature? Do you agree or disagree? Why do you agree? And can you give examples?
Because we like burning forests, deforestation, which is happens all every time.
Right, so humans, we destroy nature so that we can live comfortably, right? We seem to be destroying the forest and burning places, burning metals to create this city. So there's that relationship, right? Others, do you agree or disagree with this kind of pictorial statement?
For my opinion, I think human is like the some animal which use the reasonable to create something from the nature. We have the different form from อยากพูดเป็นภาษาไทย
พูดไทยมาเลย
คือผมคิดว่าเหมือนมนุษย์เนี่ยต่างกับสัตว์อื่นตรงที่ว่าเรามีสมองแค่นั้นนะครับ อาจจะต่างกับปลวกนิดนึงคือปลวกเนี่ยสร้างรังของมันเองนึกออกใช่ไหมครับโดยใช้สารเคมีในป่าในตัวมันเราเนี่ยใช้ความสามารถทางสมองแปลเปลี่ยนหลายอย่างสร้างมาเป็นเมืองสร้างมาเป็นวัฒนธรรมผมคิดว่าเป็นแบบนั้นครับสิ่งที่แตกต่างกัน
So you think that humans are actually just another organism, and what we are building is the same as termites, for example, or beavers, for example, that use whatever resources around them to create homes. Maybe that's the case. What about this? If nature is separated from humans, do humans have nature? Do you think that humans have nature? Do we have something in common as species?
Yes.
We do, right? We have nature of humans as well. It's kind of interesting because we tend to think of ourselves as someone individualistic. I am different from you, and you are different from her, and she is different from you, right? However, when you look at it from a big kind of population scale, we are more similar than you think. And this is the base of most psychology. And that's why psychology is always debating with anthropology that believe that humans are the product of culture, right?
Yeah.
But let's do some tests. And do not slide over to the next slide just yet. But let's play some game. In this game, and you at home can try to do this with your slide as well. In this game, you're going to see two pictures of one cat. I want you to determine if those are the same cats. All right? So here's one picture, you have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you think it's the same cat, raise your hand. If you think they're different cats, raise your hand. If you're not sure, raise your hand. It's okay to admit what you do not know. All right. Those of you who think that it's the same cat, tell me the reason.
This is not the same cat, but it is kind of this same species of cat. This cat.
Yeah, it's the same type of cat, right? But you said it might not be the same cat. What makes you think they're different cats?
Lion.
The patterns are different. Are you sure?
Maybe.
Maybe. For those of you who think they are the same cats, what made you think that they are the same cats?
I think their hair color and their eye color are the same, and the shape of their face are very similar.
Right, right. It has it's an orange tabby cat with green eyes, and of course they're a cat, right? But in fact, one of these pictures is taken in China, another one in, I think, Bulgaria. And these are, yeah, they're different cats. This one is, I think, a little older than this one. And for those of you who think they're different, is it just a guess? That can you see the patterns? Which actually are very similar, right? The patterns are almost identical, and this one shows these two cats. But the reason that you might be able to tell the difference between the two is usually if you have a cat at home, you notice that your cats are different than other cats. And from that, you know what to look for when you see humans. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with humans. Right? Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who think that these ladies are the same person? Raise your hand. Who think they're a completely different person? Raise your hand. Okay, there are a few of you who are not sure. Raise your hand. All right. For those of you who think they're the same person, why do you think so? Some of you think they're none of you think they're the same, right?
I think he is the same person, but he's different age to take the pictures.
There might be time,
Yes,
right?
maybe time.
Which one is older?
Second.
The second one. This one, she
Yeah.
might be a little older.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who think they're different, what makes you think they're different?
Her face and her shape.
Her face and body are completely different. And for those of you who aren't sure, why are you not sure?
Not sure because it might be the both.
Huh?
I'm not sure because the reason is might be the both of side เป็นไปได้หมดครับ
Oh, okay.
Very true.
So she might be similar, but the picture might be taken from a different angle and at a different time, and she might look slightly different, which happens, right? We hold ourselves to camera a certain way, and then we start looking different. In Thailand, we have a modern saying that said, the profile picture is all created. The picture that your friend tagged you is the real picture. Right. Profile คือมายา tag มาคือของจริง So as it turns out, these two are different women. right? And it's still difficult because most of you spend a lot of time in Asia, and these are kind of a simplified Caucasian lady. So it's kind of hard for you to tell at first glance. But when you compare them side to side, you see that one of them has a heart-shaped face. The other one has a kind of an oval-shaped face. Their hair texture, one of them has straight hair, the other one has curly hair, right? And one of them has a little less weight than the other one. So there are tiny details that you notice because you're humans and you notice these things. Well, the same detail as the cat, such as the cat, one cat is a little younger than the other, might not register as well because you're not used to their species. So the closer you are to a certain species or a certain group, the more you feel like there are differences. So in terms of humans, we're thinking, oh yeah, of course I am different from you and from you. But say if there's an intelligent alien species who are looking at us and say, oh, well, you are both about between 163 centimeter to 170 centimeter tall. You both have tan skin, black hair, dark brown eyes. And you kind of look alike to us, right? So there's that thing that makes us think that humans, well, in certain aspects, we're unique and different, but in certain aspects, as a species, we have some nature. So, what are common amongst humans? What do you think you and I have the same way? And yeah, what do you think? What makes us human?
Arms and legs.
Yeah, we have 2 arms, we have 2 legs. Well, most of us do. Some of us don't, maybe. What else? We have eyes. We have 2 eyes.
Nose.
Right? We have nose. We have mouth. Some of you might have 3rd eye. Please do not show them in class. I do not want to see it. Okay? Yes. So actually, you are kind of on point because what makes human unique is that we are bipedal. Bipedal means that we don't have front and back leg. We have arms and legs. And if you notice, only limited numbers of species are bipedal. What makes it even more unique is our spine is almost perpendicular to the ground. That means we're standing upright, right? Not many species, even the bipedal creatures, are upright. You see, even chimpanzee walk like this, right? But us, our spines are straight, which makes us much taller compared to the creatures with the same size. So you might see an orangutan that's really muscular and really big, but then he's this tall, right? Because he walks like this. But for us, we don't require a lot of resource or mass to stand up really, really tall. Well, tall, if you look at me, but tall for most people, anyway. We have eyes that are facing the same direction, right? And these eyes actually allow us to see distance. If most creatures, they sacrifice this ability by having their eyes on the other side of the head. Even cats and dogs have it more far apart than we do. And what they see is they can see much more wider than us. They see the panorama of images. But what that means is they lack the perception of depth. So if there's a large stone and a small stone right next to each other, right? That's fine, we both see the same thing between humans and animals. But say if a small stone is in front of a larger stone, humans have ability to perceive that the smaller stone is in the front, while most creatures would think that that's the stone of the same size sitting next to each other, because they cannot see the depth of their view. They cannot estimate how far it is from point A to point B. Or some animals use, such as cat, but not as great as us. We also have the largest brain mass compared to our entire body. Every creature has brains, but we do have the largest brain compared to our mass. Especially one part of the brain that makes us special, the prefrontal cortex. It's right here. So please avoid being hit here if you're wearing a motorcycle. Make sure to preserve this. This is what makes you human. Okay? Because of that big of a brain, we can translate this, which is, nothing in other animals' eyes, to this. We kind of use our own experience to fill such vivid details into something that wasn't there before. It's amazing that we can do that, actually. And that give us a certain benefits of living in the area where we can see really, really far. This is actually where we evolved. This is our original home. Well, this is Mumbai, but you know what I mean. Savanna landscape is what we originated from, which is the place where there are clusters of trees that can go really, really tall, but that the entire landscape can be seen through. What that means is humans want the ability to see really, really far because we have that advantage. We know how far things are, both predators and prey. But there are costs of having such complex brain and in a very small body mass. Because if you're trying to fight something that is the same size as you are, it is very likely that you're going to lose. You might be kicking a cat now, but if a cat is a size, is as heavy as I am, say 80 kilogram, if you're fighting an 80 kilogram cat, you're going to lose, right? You don't have the claws, you don't have the muscle mass, you don't have the flexibility. Of course, dogs are cute, but if an 80 kilogram dog is running towards me, I'm going to find a place to hide, okay? It's not fun. I've played with one with 45 kilogram before. Basically, I become its chew toy, and that's half my weight, right? So humans are good at perception and thinking and seeing really far. We cannot fight very well, unfortunately. So the clusters of tree provided by our origin habitat is good for us to hide. That's why even now we like shelter that can see really far. And people really love living in high places like in condominium and things because that's a leftover from our evolution. Our diet has used to be this: raw potatoes and roots and fruits and raw grains, right? Our ancestors eat this. So we have kind of mechanics in our bodies that can process calories really well, that tend to like calorie-dense food, such as something that has high sugar content and has high carbohydrate content and fat content. Because usually your ancestors won't be able to eat for a long, long time, right? You always see in the movie when talking about people from ancestral time hunting animals, eating fish, but that's only for their special meals. Most of the time, humans are foragers. Foragers are people who go around and collecting fruits and seeds and roots to eat. And because humans are weak, can see really far, are a forager, and can walk really well, we have higher endurance in terms of running and walking. So humans, who here has run an ultra marathon? How about a marathon? How about a half marathon? How about a fun run? Anyone? Maybe it's not your generation. Usually, my generation is crazy about running. But basically, humans love running because we run as a profession. Our ancestors run as professional. Until 10,000 years ago, things changed. 10,000 years ago, the things that changed is the agricultural revolution. And in this picture, it's in China, right? We start cultivating grains. We start raising animals in place, and we start living as a community. But creatures usually take much, much longer than 10,000 years or than a few thousand lifetimes in order to change their brain and body structure. But our environment, however, has flipped. What do you mean by that? We now live here. Who know where this city is?
Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai, yeah! Right? We now live in Chiang Mai. And you can see that it's not a forest. We can still see really far, but it doesn't have the same visual cues that we have when we are at our ancestral home, right? And we have new threat, new kind of things to think about. We have these cars, we have a traffic jam to worry about. Can you imagine telling our ancestors that we are very upset because we have to sit or else we cannot meet other humans on time, right? It's strange, and we would be like, oh, sorry, we are 15 minutes late, when our body or our brain system doesn't really work that way. Our food, from something that is mostly plants and mostly scarce, become something that really caloric dense and really, really sweet and really available. We don't even have to walk for food, right? We can just, oh, let me just grab some lunch, and then all of a sudden you have food. So with all these factors combined, it creates something that are unusual among us. Here is the statistics of overweight population in Southeast Asia. Thailand is number 2, including me. All right. So when we say Thailand never lose to anyone, this is another opinion, I guess. All right, we have changes in terms of beauty standard. Of course, I'm not showing this picture to make fun of this person, and not because I want to say that she is bad in any way, but I want to show that this is a type of changes that are going on in our bodies as the city changed, as our settlements changed, and there are some concerning statistics about this. If you look at the statistics, and when I said I'm not shaming that person, because this is statistic only for men. All right. So for us, you see that if we have the waist and hip ratio that is higher in the higher quintile, you're more likely to have heart disease, and it's going up like this, right? And if you have higher BMI or really low BMI, you also have risk of heart diseases. We have higher and higher rate of mental depression. And medical students in particular are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than other college students. And suicide is the leading cause of death for people in your age group, between 15 and 29, according to World Health Organization. because the environment that is not suitable for you or the emotional impact that happens to you make changes to your physicality and your psychology. There are a lot of studies in animals, before animal ethics was a thing, I suppose, that if you are living in an environment that's not suitable for you, then you start behaving strangely. Even kind, nice, sweet animals start being aggressive and violent and not sharing and not social, while it suffers from these consequences. It's lonely, but it doesn't want to interact with anyone. And there are some movement in architecture and things that trying to push this new environment that's not very suitable for our evolutionary perspective. And it's okay to be exposed to this once in a while. This is not a bad place or architecture as long as you have access to a certain environment that you are used to, such as nature. A lot of studies, and you're going to learn a lot about them in the upcoming class, about how being exposed to nature is good for your health, it's good for the children's brain development, it's good to slow down elderly's brain, and it's good to keep your heart active, increase your behaviors in terms of physical active behaviors. There are a lot of studies, for example, in hospital, they look at the patients who have an appendectomy, which means your appendix are cut off, right? Some patients get the room that see brick wall outside, and some patients get the room that see trees. And with statistical analysis, they found that people who are spending time recovering with this spend 3 days less in the hospital than these group of people. And they use a lot less painkiller that they give themselves. They intake a lot less painkillers. If you look at the tree density and heart-related death, you see that from very few trees to a lot of trees, and from rich people to poor people, you see that rich people doesn't care. You might have trees around us, you might not, we don't care. In people with middle income, they're starting to die a little bit less as there are more trees and green spaces around them. And for poor people, oh, what difference does it make, right? The mortality rate from circulatory disease or from heart disease, per se, drop drastically if you're poor and live near green environments. What this means is maybe having trees and greenness around you kind of even out the inequality that happens between rich and poor people. There are a lot of studies about crime, social ties, and nature, but since we are approaching time, I'm going to skip this. We're going to talk about this again in the chapter about social behaviors and nature. There are studies about attention restoration, which means that your brain works better if you have regular exposure to nature. And there are studies that shows that if you spend 10 minutes taking a break in a classroom that has a view to nature just like this, you can perform better academically than people who have the view to the brick wall or have no room at all, or have no view at all. So if you're taking an exam, it might be good to look out the window before you take the test. Attention also is tied to executive functioning, which means that you can control yourself better. So, which means we should be in nature, right? Nature is wonderful. We should always be outside all the time running in the flower field, right? And that would be happy ending for everyone. Is that right? You shake your head, but you look confused. Why?
just seem like
Huh?
it just seem like it would be administrated, and in the contract it just doesn't seem like that because it also needs facilities to compete for competing outline.
Right. It's like this civilization doesn't come without reasons, right? We want something convenient, we want advance in science, we want to do a lot more all the time, we have more information. An average college student now might have more medical knowledge than the doctor 200 years ago. So it's not just going back to nature. But say, so does it mean that if we have buildings and we can just go to nature whenever we are taking a break? I mean, like say, this long weekend we will go to nature. And if not, then we can stay in the city as is. Maybe, maybe not. Because we live in Chiang Mai too. This is taken in 2017. What happens here?
Smoke.
Yes, smog, which occurs in Chiang Mai, in Bangkok, and as I believe in Beijing and Sichuan as well, right? Maybe not Sichuan. Is it still happening in larger Chinese metropolitans?
Yes.
Yeah, right? So, what do you mean? Does it mean that even with the air pollution like this, we should go into nature and expose ourselves to trees and fresh air and everything? No, right? And it's getting really, really hot, right? The temperature is rising. Of course, we should do something about it, but in the meantime, does going outside a better option than staying indoor? Right? With the temperature high enough to like 42 to 44 degrees Celsius, you can pass out from heat at any time. And maybe you're thinking, oh, well, we will just go up in winter, up to the mountain. Well, I got bad news for you. A lot of people are really going to the nature during these times, and it's packed, and it's inconvenient, and it might make you even more stressed. And also, going back to nature, like you said, is not the safest option. This is Thailand. We got dengue virus. If you aren't sure about what water you drink, you might get E. coli. There are a lot of animals that will try to harm you in so many ways. Again, humans are weak, soft, unaware creatures, right? Our ears we're practically deaf. We practically can't smell. We are really good at looking though. So maybe being in nature is not what's cut out to be. What do you think might be a balanced solution? So it's not abandoning the city and going back to nature, and it's not just going to the nature on the weekends sometimes, because that's not practical, and we cannot go out into nature all the time. Then what would be the balanced solution? What do you think?
And tea in my house. And some trees in my house.
Yeah, get some trees in your place, or get some trees outside your windows, right? Bring the forest into some part of the city. Make it an option, right? There is a concept of green infrastructure, which means that trees and parks and street trees and plants are as important part for humans in a city as much as electricity and Wi-Fi and houses and streets. A good city should provide nature to humans as much as provide electricity. And this concept may come in a very large scale or in a very small ones. and provide maybe some more opportunities of physical activities or other functions and options along with it. They can even provide ecological solutions to some of the cities. And then we are here. Even though most of the cities are okay in terms of nature, as if like Chiang Mai has a lot of street trees, it can use more green spaces, to be honest, but it has a lot of street trees, right? Bangkok has a lot of beautiful parks that are accessible by public transportation. Beijing is beautiful the last time I visited, with a lot of greenness and parks, right? Are you from mainland China or different?
From Kunming.
Kunming.
Yeah.
Oh, Kunming nature is beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, there's that, right? So, but we can't get there because we can't get on the bus. Or if we are outside, we might risk being infected. Maybe if the place is really crowded, we might be at risk. So what do we do? Plants at home, you mentioned. Or what do you think? I'm going to give you maybe 5 minutes to think about this. And I think the rest is going to be discussion, video folks. I really apologize for the quality of the experience you are having today. I'll make sure to prepare better on Tuesday. Thanks for being patient.